Fellow LangTuber Agmashwa is hosting something he calls the Cursed Conlang Circus, which I like to call the CCC for short. The idea is people submit cursed constructed languages they made up for the express purpose of being ridiculous in their difficulty and/or execution and/or plausibility. They're cursed, that's the point. My language will be submitted to the CCC, really mostly as a formality because it started out as an actual competitive entry into that competition, but this video here isn't actually about making the most cursed language. Basically, the CCC got me thinking, what would be the worst language? These are, of course, two different questions. What I mean when I say worst is, I want to take the purposes of language, the very reasons it exist, and make a language which completely goes against them. Not the worst theoretical language, mind you, but a language derived from the worst possible principles a language could follow, so a worst language. First, I felt I had to limit myself. I want to create a spoken and written language, so it's going to have a phonology and an orthography. A phonology which can be pronounced with a mouth and a mouth only, and an orthography which can be physically written. Side note, I've decided not to go for a cursed phonology. Given that I limited myself to a normal spoken language, I feel there isn't really anything I could do with it. Sure, I could make it more difficult, but that doesn't make it a worse language. Having 43 click consonants doesn't make your language bad, it just makes it, cursed. Sorry, Tar. Native speakers learn languages effectively, whatever the phonological conditions, let's be honest. So I went for easy to pronounce, common phonemes, to be more easily able to demonstrate the actual grammar that went into the language. So, the purpose of language. Communication. That's ultimately what it's about. Now, it would be very easy to just make every word be k, and that's it. You just have a language that goes k, and each syllable is written with a letter W as a joke, and that's all. No one gains any meaning from the orthography or the phonology. But the problem is that at this point this becomes more of a call system than a language. People will simply start using this as a sound devoid of meaning. And then sure, it'll be a terrible method of communication, but people are quite good at communicating with tone of voice and gestures and things like this. No, to make the worst language, we need to construct something that actively hinders communication. Hold on to that thought. Before we get into the most useless language, let's talk about how you can improve your language skills in a much more useful language, like German, French, or Spanish. We've all been there, long, boring language lessons in schools with teachers who often didn't really know what they were talking about or didn't really want to be there. You've probably learned this language for years, and there's still no way you could even order a vegan hot dog in the country of your choice. Not so with this video's sponsor, Lingoda. Lingoda is an online language school with certified native level teachers that teach you your chosen language in classes of no more than 5 students, providing an interactive classroom experience and the ability for you to choose the topics you find most useful. You want to go to Germany to find out whether Bielefeld is real? Well, with Lingoda's choice of 2 intensive 2-month learning challenges, the Sprint or Super Sprint challenge, you can become more confident in communicating in German, and with classes available 24/7, you can even study alongside school or work. After finishing the challenge successfully, you can get 50% of your money back or free extra language lessons to further your learning experience. Join the 14,000 students who are already competing in the challenge with the link in the description and get €20 or $25 off with my promo code KKlein20. So back to the thought you all held on to. We need to construct something which hinders our ability to communicate. And that means destroying the lexicon of, let's call this language Penafi for no particular reason, to ensure that its words contain morphemes, but still manage to be utterly meaningless. Take Penafi, for instance, composed of 2 morphemes, pe and nafi. Pe means loads of or plenty, and nafi means words. A lot of words is a language, but it's also used as a name for the language itself. Fantastic. Great start. But pe can also mean no or none, obviously. So penafi can be no words, silent. Also nafi can be split into na and fi, which mean fish and soup respectively, so the word could mean plenty of fish soup or also no fish soup. Also, just like plenty of words meaning language, all words can be interpreted metaphorically. So nafi can also be a stand-in for food in general, as all food-related words can be. And of course, the word as a whole is a single morpheme meaning all of these things. So we have all these potential meanings running around. Of course, there is no set word order or even preferred word order, and nothing to indicate what sentence part any word or phrase is. So anything in the sentence could be a verb, subject, or object at any time. You just have to know from context. And all this semantic information swimming around will help stop people from using their tones of voice and body language to communicate. This got me thinking about deixis. Deixis is where general language, such as set words and phrases, are used for specific things dependent on the context. So the word you is deictic. It's semantically consistent, we all know what the word you means, but the actual thing being referred to by the word changes from case to case. Say it denotes a person being spoken to by the speaker, then that person changes depending on the speaker and their audience. The same goes for the word tomorrow. It's not like every time we say tomorrow we mean the same literal day. No, it's relative to the time in which it's said. These are incredibly useful in language because it means every single person and thing and concept doesn't have to be defined from some sort of objective viewpoint, but can be described in relative terms. Simple fix: avoid deixis completely in order to make the language less useful. But what if people just point at things as they talk? Like, as a gesture. Like, I'm gesturing at this thing, so that's the thing I'm referring to. That could ruin all the hard work we've done corrupting the lexicon. Oh no. No, deixis can't just be left out. It needs to be bent to our evil whims. Of course, it can't hurt to make no the only pronoun in the language, meaning both I and you and we. You know, that's funny. But the critical thing is to make our key spatial determiner, the word po, mean the thing I'm gesturing at, the thing I'm not gesturing at, the thing to the left of where I'm gesturing, the thing northwest of where I'm gesturing, and something nowhere near where I'm gesturing, all at once. This tricks the speaker into trying to use this word to clarify what they mean, but when they use it, it actually mystifies what it is they're referring to. But what if people just gesture at things they're referring to, you know, without using the word po, just kind of gesturing at it while they say a word to distinguish it from its many homophones? I'd argue this is already kind of dealt with because the weight of gesturing at something has been diminished by the language, since a gesture doesn't always indicate reference to the thing being gestured at. However, I concede that it's quite a common piece of body language which could make it easier to understand some things. Damn it, humans are good at communicating. I have two solutions to this. The first is to chop everyone's arms off. The second is, bear with me, to make every word deictic. Take Penafi again, in the meaning horse. Of course, horse is only a rough translation. Really, the word means the horse I'm gesturing at, and also the horse I'm not gesturing at. Also, every word has original deictic meanings now. For instance, Penafi has the meanings the thing northeast of where I'm gesturing, and something not south-southwest of just left of where I'm gesturing. So there, no more gesturing. You can even keep your arms. Alright, orthography, the writing system. The purpose of a writing system is generally to communicate the phonemes and/or morphemes of the spoken language so that it can be recorded in a visual format. Not exclusively, mind you. Another big purpose of orthography is art, aesthetics, making something beautiful. My artist KVD made this orthography, devising these characters. He refused to make something that just looked plain ugly, so this writing system doesn't look too bad. But we couldn't have it be stylistically consistent, so he added these extra symbols with a completely different aesthetic. KVD made the symbols extra difficult to read by adding these lines to the end of all of them, which distinguish characters from one another. There's no way to tell with which character these lines go, because there's no way to tell the start or end of a character. So since these are all different graphs, there's no way to tell which characters make up this two-symbol combination. Oh, and of course it can be written in any direction with no indication as to which direction it's going. Also, this can be used for p to w, this for n, m, or f, this for f, m, or p, and so on. All letters also have a chance of being silent, and vowels are never written, which is difficult enough in languages like Arabic and Hebrew where there are consistent enough phonotactics. Penafi has no phonotactics, there are no rules or indications as to where any vowel could be. Also, as a joke, I left out the sound k from the orthography, like it can just appear at any point in any word at any time and you just have no way to expect it. And now onto the final purpose of newly discovered languages, to prove Noam Chomsky wrong. So this language is going to prove Chomsky right. Not only does this language have recursion, recursion is syntactically compulsory. No sentence is grammatically complete without recursive structures, and what's more, juxtaposition is not allowed. So no words like and, no splicing phrases together. In fact, you're only allowed one sentence per time you speak. It's both rude and grammatically incorrect to keep speaking after that sentence until someone else has spoken. If you want to tell a story, you'll have to do so with recursive structures to contain it all within a sentence. And now a translation of our sample text, chosen graciously by Agma Schwa himself from the beginning of the B-movie, which happens to contain a great example of how all modal verbs are the same, mfyo, and how Penafi has genitives of all its nouns, which are randomly selected for each individual noun. Here on screen is the original, a literal translation of the Penafi IPA, and as written in the Penafi script. Here goes. Peraki makata fi no peftk, tama no pakat no peftk, tama fi kvitv, mfyo soemem fi ep myo no fe kvitfib in soe tama, pakat fi sonot kvitfib, anof soe impus kepatak pefi kvitv, mala soemem fi ep myo no kvitv pemol emfta fi ampus. Suans. I've also included some meanings of these words. The ones I included were ones where the whole word was taken as a single morpheme. There are plenty of composite words that these could each mean. Like, don't forget that peftk could mean no way, but also mean plenty of ways, or all ways. There's also the metaphorical meanings of each of these, but you can use your brains to figure those out. And here's a few examples of the deictic meanings too, which every single word has, remember. Also, I put this in fairly English word order for my own ease of translation, but these words could be in theoretically any place within their respective clauses, so bear that in mind. Anyway, that's all, folks.